Hey now, it's Monday morning, moving slow. It's the 28th of October. Cheers. I don't know why, but my back is bugging me today. Almost feels like a sympathetic response to, I just riff people. I don't plan. I sort of think about what I'm going to say, and then I just go. Had a good weekend. Unfortunately, did hear about the death of another person I know. She was a former workmate of mine who I liked and had some involvement with personally by being a DJ for weddings in her family. And I actually have spent some holidays with her family. Joanne worked at Community Alliance with me. She was one of the few employees there who were there longer than I. Um, I started working at Community Alliance, I think, about 5 years after it opened. And she was there from almost the beginning. It was a unique job, mental health community center, working with adults. Um, I really believed in the agency and took the job seriously from the standpoint that we're actually trying to help, that we're not just moving units and serving quotas, that we're actually trying to help people improve their lives. And Joanne was on the front lines. She was a good lady. I'll get to some music here. Um, the the positive vibrations of the weekend just continued throughout. Saturday morning, I heard from my friend Nick and Kat with the baby Faye, and he came over with the baby with Faye for the first time. It was wonderful, and at the same time, it was exhausting. She's 16 months now, and very bright, already talking, walking and talking, and you know how children are, especially bright ones. It's like we're going to find what's interesting, we're going to find what's dangerous, and we're going to get into it. And so we had fun. She really likes music. Of course, when I personally think if you go ahead and introduce music to children right away, it's a given. Interestingly, her father Nick was looking at, we were out there in the living room and looking through things, and for some reason picked this. He said, "Play this. Let's see what happens with this." He also pulled for a second Eclectic Maybe Band. If you see this, Guy, hello. We didn't play it, but Nick pulled it, and we didn't go there. I said that might be a bit heavy for Faye. But he said, "How about this? Durutti Column, Obey the Time." Bingo. She perked up. This is very rhythmic and there's a rhythmic element to this album, more so than some of his other earlier stuff. Electronically so. This is really good in my opinion. She really got into it. It was wonderful, dancing. She even sang for us. So touching, so wonderful. I love my friends. I really do. I really appreciate my circle of friends. This came up yesterday, and so I'm going to talk about it. So, Bandcamp Friday is coming up this week. Besides my solo stuff, I want to encourage folks to buy some RAF. I got the album, and I have the CD. I'll bring it up again later this week, but that's some good stuff. Several thoughts, and I'll try to combine them with showing this. So I was thinking about the fact that I don't show my records very much in the music groups. Don't want to be too self-indulgent. But I thought to myself, number one, I haven't played this actually in a long time, and I haven't showed it. So yesterday, as I put it on the play, and started just looking at it and reminiscing. This is 10 years old now. I try to stay in the moment, and so I don't always think about anniversaries and stuff like it. It's been 5 years. It's been a year since things just time just keeps moving like a river. But this came out 10 years ago, inspired by my work on an independent film called Flyover Country by Jim Fields. If you see this, Jim, hello. I want to give Jim uh, compliments and thank him for the opportunity to make this music by hiring me to do the soundtrack for his movie. It was a first. And the actual soundtrack to the movie is on a CD. I think they're all gone. I think they're all gone. But when I decided to put this on vinyl, I indulged several wishes, and one was to have a colored vinyl but splatter, deluxe colored vinyl release. Something that I didn't ask for, but that Tim did, knowing we're both big 4AD fans. The logo for my records, the name of my record label is DVH Recordings. He did a pastiche of 4AD. Check that out. DVH, kind of similar to, I can't really, because it's embossed on there. The letters are embossed as well. Listen to this all the way through, and it was like, oh my God, this really holds up. If you follow me on Facebook, it has a little bit to do with the most recent thing I posted this morning. I am so glad to be done with the illusion that I need to prove myself to anyone anymore. This album is like, damn, I did that. A lot of work, actually. I hadn't listened to it for so long, it's like I forget, how much work went into it and how well it turned out. It's long since been sold out. You can maybe find copies through Discogs, or maybe luckily you'll come across one in a record store somewhere. Pick it up. I'm very proud of it. Also on my page, I posted a clip where someone in the audience with their phone videotaped or taped Nick Cave in concert telling people to put the phones away. I just like the way he did it. I know that this won't change, and on some levels, like for example on my level of playing, it's nice to see when someone has taken a shot of you playing live and shared it. On the level of someone like Nick Cave or larger, I can really relate to him really being fed up with this phone business because there's so many. And it's like, it's pointless, Take a picture and put it away and join me in this moment. That is what I'm really understanding that he's saying. And of course, it started a bit of an, argument. I don't argue, but I wasn't surprised the person that brought the conflicting, it's not conflicting, but it's like, you're not even seeing what the point is of this man. You're not on his level. I can see it from Nick Cave's level, not from a local artist like me or this other person, where we can appreciate being taped on the phone and shared. Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but I loved it. I loved the way he handled it. He said, "Please, let me show you what I'm going to do. Take your pictures and put the goddamn things away." And so he threw some shapes. I loved it. It was awesome. So, more music. Oh, so back to Bandcamp Friday. My intent today, what is my assignment for today? My assignment for today is to put together one more track for my new album Inner Image, which comes out Friday. And I'm going to put my voice on it. I'm not going to sing, but I very, I almost never put my voice on my recordings. So I intend to do something today, either something completely new or work with something that I already have that I'll add to. That's my plan for the day. Some music that got played in the last few days. Kraftwerk, Electric Dimension. Obviously, a take on Kraftwerk. Obviously electronic. You look at it and you can see it's electronic. You know, they're doing a homage to Kraftwerk. Lovely yellow, red vinyl. Yellow. We just woke up. Thankfully, they do not try to sound like Kraftwerk, but they are totally inspired by them. And it works, but not completely. Some things on here are just, they just go on and they go on and they just, okay. But a standout on here was it Confusion? Yeah, Confusion was a standout track. That one was like, oh yeah. Kraftwerk. Something got me to pull this, and hadn't listened to this dedicatedly in a long time. This is a classic album. This is an example of a record that goes back to my childhood and teen years, but the music stands the test of time. This still sounds fresh, and this was made in 1968, The Soft Machine, their first album. This was originally released in America before it was released in the UK. This is the die cut where you can spin the wheel and see the lady's butt. Well, you know, we love that. Let me see that lady's behind. And there it is on the back. Booty! You know, young men, young people, young women too. Everybody likes booty. This album is wonderful. Soft Machine Volume 2 is even better for my taste. I think a lot of fans agree. But this is just kicks it off very interesting. It's like, this is not the typical thing. Okay, that's what it is. That's what got me to play this. Recently uploaded on YouTube was, I've been waiting for this. I like the way that the BBC does their documentaries. And so, you know, they have their Synth Britannia documentary. They have a lot of them, you know, not a lot. I wish they had more. But finally, Psychedelic Britannia just was uploaded. I just found it online and watched that. And it's really well done. It's from the perspective of England, not the world. So it talks about how original psychedelia, you know, the heyday was 1965 to 1970 for England, and it made sense, and they put it into perspective really well. I also love the fact that they featured the Soft Machine on the same level as Pink Floyd in the film, and Donovan and folks like that. Soft Machine, Robert Wyatt said it himself in some interview clips. He said, if there was any description of Soft Machine in the early days that I could identify with, it would have been psychedelic. It wasn't rock and roll. It wasn't quite jazz. He said they were about trying to get into that zone, which I'm so glad I come from a family of musicians, jazz musicians, because I learned about the zone as a child, watching them and listening to them get in the zone. I know how to do it too. That's why I'm in the Hall of Fame. I know how to kick him. I know how to kick the band in the ass as the part of the rhythm section. I do. I know how to make it go higher. So that was what inspired that. It's a good documentary. Talked to Arthur Brown, and they even include things that are not so mainstreamy, like the band Kaleidoscope and some other things. Vashti Bunyan, I appreciated that. I enjoyed the documentary very well. It's on YouTube. Psychedelic Britain, easy way to find it. Here's something I pulled. I was over here looking at spines and had forgotten what this sounds like. This is Christopher Willett's Opening. Ambient artist. He's worked with Ryuichi Sakamoto. I have at least one of their collaborations. This sounds like the cover, and the title is perfect. Opening. This isn't all spacey and wispy. There is some rhythm in here. Beautiful clear vinyl. This is really good. Makes me think of someone like John Hopkins also, who I like. I'm thinking I liking this a little more. John Hopkins can kind of put me to sleep. This was engaging. Willett's Opening. And again, a beautiful graphic. Early on as a kid, art. Well, I come from an artistic family, all of us. My parents, grandparents, uncles, my brothers and sisters, all very artistic. And so the visual is very important to me. And there was a time when I would hesitate to buy an album if the cover was shitty. This one, I'm not sure why I pulled it, but this is a monster album, except for the last track. This could have been a classic. It's a very collectible album now. Affinity came out in 1970. Linda Hoyle on vocals, Mo Foster on bass, recently passed away. Rest in peace. I saw on Facebook this morning one mention, but I looked right away and there's no mention, but possibly Steve Morse of Dixie Dregs Deep Purple has passed away. Someone posted something on Facebook, but there's no link to an article. But the Mo Foster made me think of that. Anyway, this is a classic Hypnosis cover. The folks that did the Pink Floyd album covers. And this is wonderful. I mean, they even do Mr. Joy, written by, is it Carla Bley? I love this version of it. Mr. Joy, written by, excuse me, folks, Annette Peacock. See, I knew that there was a connection to Paul Bley. Annette Peacock wrote the song. It's wonderful. But I think the thing that probably kept this album from becoming more popular or remembered is on the B-side, they end the album with a long jam on All Along the Watchtower. And I had to take it off because after a point it was like, okay, this is filler. These folks didn't have enough material. This is my opinion, but I bet you I'm right. They didn't have enough material to fill a whole album, so they jammed out on All Along the Watchtower. And it becomes tedious. It starts off good. Linda Hoyle has a good, unique voice. And the band jam. All the musicians in the band are good players. But it's like, this is just going on and on and on. And it's like, if you were stoned at the show, dancing or something, that would be one thing. But I had to take it off. I'm thinking that was its downfall. Is that it? You know, it's funny. I have a couple records sitting out here I haven't got to yet. I still haven't got to the Procol Harum. Procol Harum was discussed in the Psychedelic Britannia. You know, when they did the Whiter Shade of Pale, which is based on an old piece. I forget the name of the piece. And Gary Brooker talks about what he had in mind. It made sense and it fits. I also like the way that the documentary puts into context the Moody Blues Days of Future Past album, because I do think that that's an early progressive rock psychedelic classic. It's just saved my life. I've told that story. But I think the album is brilliant and really, they talked about how they did acid and it led to those recordings. To me, some of the best music from the 60s and 70s. So let me get to the Procol Harum, because Grand Hotel actually has a couple songs in it that I really like. But when I go to play their other records, it's like, I'm going to have to give them another shot. But I always buy them used when I see them. I do respect them. And maybe it's time to really see what Procol Harum was about. Here's another record that's sitting out that was sent to me. I don't remember what it sounds like, so I need to play this. Under Pressure by Von Spar. Half the time I don't remember who sends me what, so if you're watching and you sent this to me, thank you. There's something... Oh, I won't. I thought there was... Oh, R. Stevie Moore. Okay, R. Stevie Moore and Letitia Sadier from Stereolab are guests on this album. That alone tells you that this should be interesting, not necessarily a run-of-the-mill sound. So this is out to be listened to. Okay, so that's what I have to share. I'm going to leave... actually, one more. And I thought about bringing in the pile of recent, and I just might. But I had pulled this recently, Gong Shamal. I think I might have talked about it, but I went ahead and played the extra CD. It's live at the Marquee, and this saves it. I mean, I like Shamal, but this live recording is excellent. It's like really on fire. It's like, wow. Real good. So I'm not going to go in the other room and get CDs. But I've been doing that now. Listening to stuff, trying to see if I can figure out what it is, while I'm listening to it, because then because I put it in the CD, I'll purposely look away while mounting the CD so I don't know what it is. And there's a couple of ringers, a couple of really bad things, really bad. Have to get back to this Cleast War. Haven't yet. If you see this, Richard, it's in my to play pile right here on the desk. And that's about it. Oh, if you see this, the most recent purchase from England, I didn't go to the post office Saturday, so I'm going to mail it today. Okay? Someone bought, I think, the Muse in England. I'll mail it today. Family, friends, I hope you're all well. Have a great day, and let me know how you're doing.